Yeah, I understand for all of the digital creators that, I mean, I guess to a degree the numbers matter, but I guess my issue is the way it's starting to overtake the creativity. The fact that that's what we really pay attention to more than anything. Analytics, data, numbers. That's what's driving everybody to make the stuff they make instead of just, I guess it's more about the purity to me. The purity is what's lacking. I see with a lot of people when they first start, they kind of just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And then you go by the numbers. It's the raw data. What are people drawn to that I created that I should make more of? So, okay, this is the kind of video that's getting the most views on my channel. So that means I should be doing more of this. I don't really like that. That was really the whole idea of the attention deficit in the first place. Because I didn't want to get locked into doing one thing. And like, just because I do this movie review and everybody like that, I should do more. I mean, if I feel like it, but not just because that's what's getting the most views. You can go to my channel and you can clearly see what has the most views. And that's a more organic situation than anything I can think of. But I'm not trying to recreate that just because that's what everybody liked. And just because it has the most views, don't necessarily mean that's what people like the most. They could be watching it because it's a train wreck. You know, you never know what's the motivation behind the views in the first place. So what's nasty to me about this whole game is the fact that there's no love involved. And that's probably one of my issues in life is like, where's the love? Like, people don't do it for the love. People don't do it because it's genuinely what they want to do, unless that's what they started with in the first place. For a lot of us, you don't have real direction. You just got an urge to start recording. The funniest thing about that Lewis Black video, to be honest, I hated that video. Like, I just had a real serious disdain for that video for the longest time because behind the scenes, like, that was it was a hard time in my life. I was really having an angry day. So while I'm sitting here at the beginning of the video saying that I don't know what made me think of Lewis Black in the first place, it's like a beautiful synergy about how that video came together and all the content that was involved. But yeah, man, I was angry as hell. Like, I was really mad. That was a hard day. And not to get into the specifics of my life, but it was just a hard time. So having my anger attached to Lewis Black's anger, I think that matched well. It meshed well. It made for, I guess, some real entertainment there. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could just let it be, where I'm finally okay with that video for what it is. But that's the big secret about that one. I really feel like, kind of like needle in a haystack, but not because of following or anything like that. It's more so because, man, I'm really doing this because it's what I love to do. Honestly, I wanted to get into this for more of what's going on behind the camera than what's in front of the camera, but I just didn't have a subject to use where I could step back and like do more of that. I didn't realize just how many people are afraid of the camera, especially because now, like, with social media and the direction it's taken, man, a lot of people are in front of the camera like way more than they used to be. So it's kind of weird to me that so many people would be kind of averse to being in front of the camera or like still have some kind of fear or phobia about that. So I guess that's something I didn't realize, but like I spoke to it before, that I was facing one of my fears of being in front of the camera, and now it's a lot easier for me. So it all comes with practice, but like, I don't have time to convince people of that. So since I was my only subject, I'm the one that I ended up using for that anyway. But even with that, it still comes back to me doing what I want to do. And once I got over the hump of like worrying about likes and like who's gonna watch this, I said before, I don't even know who's actually a subscriber to the channel. I did like start to peek in last year. I started to peek in on analytics just to see like what's the percentage of subscribers actually watching, and it gives you a lot of different data, like who's watching in this country and all of that kind of stuff. But I think that really takes away from the focus. I think that takes away from the art. It's a purity about this that I think goes away when you start to cater to the numbers and the data. That's probably what I wrestle with the most. And not only being a creator, but also being a viewer and consumer. Because I've watched a lot of different kinds of videos, and I have noticed that it drives a lot of what people make. And I guess for most people, the motivation behind them making the videos is to build a following, you know, build a brand and monetize. So that also makes me a weirdo being in this space, because I don't really promote, I don't do a lot of the things that you probably should do if you want your channel to grow. But then if you try to ask me what is my channel about, I don't have like a solid answer for that either, because I just create, I do what I feel. And nothing about that, at least from like what I can gather, nothing about that is gonna bring me like big numbers or huge following, because you don't really know what you're tuning into whenever I upload a video. What I was getting to in the last video was really just about the purity and the fact that, like, I understand some of the pitfalls that you can run into in this business, if that's what you want to call it, but I work really hard to stay away from that. Man, I'm working really hard to just keep the purity of what it is I'm doing. I don't want to get to the point where I'm a robot, where I'm just pushing out a product and I'm doing it because this is what I do. Not because it's what I love, but it's because of what I do. Or now I'm leaning on it, I'm depending on it to pay the bills. Like, that takes the fun out of everything for me. I mean, maybe a lot of people, that's motivation for them, but for me, it would take all of the fun out of what I'm doing. So, also I want to say sorry for cussing. I even had to, like, man, when I get impassioned about something or really comfortable, then you find out I'm really a sailor. So I'm trying real hard not to do that. When I looked at my last video, in 2 minutes, I had like so many cuss words. I didn't even feel like going through all the trouble of trying to edit that and, you know, bleep it out. It was just like, man, whatever. I'm gonna just put it out and put an age restriction on it. That was my compromise for that one. But the point remains, man, like, for me, it's really more about the art than anything. And so that's what's so frustrating. I really wish we could get to a point where it was just about the creativity. I guess that kind of lets you know what a dreamer I am. The fact that the things that I look forward to, the things that I kind of hope for, is really all in my mind. I don't even know what's to be said about that, or like what that makes me. But I really don't want to get into all of the specifics and driving myself crazy over the numbers. How many minutes are people watching the videos? If I put out a 10-minute video, are people watching the whole thing? Is it too long? Is it not long enough? Are people like frustrated with the content? Like, man, it doesn't matter. If I'm making what I really feel, then that's really all that matters to me. It's really just like a self-check. It's just about me being true to self. That's what I like the most about what I'm doing. That's what I want to continue to do. And I also encourage other people to do it, because it's real. It's real when it's not tainted by the views and opinions of others, when you don't have people pulling on your coattails and all of that other stuff, man. There's so many distractions that can get you away from whatever it is that might have like drawn people into the channel. I've seen it happen with a lot of different channels where they started out one way, and then you look up 2 years later and the content is so different, the character is so different. I know people have to grow and change, but sometimes change is not always a good thing. That's about all I got today. I love you. I appreciate you, and I'm out.